Coraline's other door. The door that never closed. There was always something wrong about the other world. Coraline Jones knew it from the start. The way the food tasted too perfect, the colors looked too rich, and the way the other mother's smile stretched just a little too wide. It was all a trap, a beautifully woven lie to make her stay forever. But Coraline escaped. She played the game, found the ghost children's eyes, slammed the door shut, and locked the beldam away forever. At least, that's how the story is supposed to go. But what if that wasn't the only ending? What if, in another version of the story, Coraline never made it out? What if, instead of slamming the door never closed at all? And what if, over time, the other mother decided she didn't need to wait for children to come to her? What if she decided to step into our world instead? A second door appears. It started years after Coraline's disappearance. The Pink Palace had been abandoned, the house slowly rotting as if it too had given up hope. People avoided it, whispering stories of the girl who went missing without a trace, the parents who swore she had been there one night and gone the next, the black cat that still wandered its halls, meowing at things that weren't there. But then, strange things began happening elsewhere. In a town miles away, a new door appeared. It wasn't part of any house's original layout. It wasn't built by anyone living there. It just appeared one day as if it had always been there. A small wooden door painted blue. People ignored it at first, until the first child disappeared. A little girl named Anna, 5 years old. Her parents swore they tucked her into bed like always. The next morning, she was gone. No broken windows, no open doors, no forced entry. The only thing out of place? Her closet door was slightly open, and on the floor, a single black button lay in the middle of her empty room. Sown smiles. The disappearances spread. A boy went missing while playing hide and seek in his basement. A teenager vanished during a sleepover. A baby disappeared from its crib, no sound, no struggle, just gone. And then there were the survivors, the ones who didn't go missing but came back wrong. At first, they seemed normal. They still looked like themselves, still spoke like themselves, but there was something off. They smiled too much. Their eyes never blinked at the same time. They started humming old lullabies that no one had ever taught them. And sometimes in the middle of conversations, they would suddenly tilt their heads and whisper, "She's watching." One mother, desperate to understand what had happened to her son, set up a camera while he slept. The footage showed him lying perfectly still. Then, at exactly 3 a.m., his body sat up straight, his head jerking unnaturally, as if someone had pulled invisible puppet strings. And then he turned to the camera, staring directly into the lens, and smiled. His mouth stretched too wide, and on the edge of his lips, just barely visible, black stitches. The door follows you. People tried to run. Families packed their bags and left their homes, trying to escape the town. But it didn't matter where they went, because the door followed them. A mother who had fled to another city woke up one night to find her bedroom closet slightly open. A man staying in a motel heard soft scratching sounds from behind the wallpaper, as if something was crawling underneath. A woman locked her entire house, sealing every door, every window. But the next morning, there was a new door in her hallway, and this time it was already open. Inside, nothing. Just an endless black void. And a single voice, soft and sweet, whispering, "Come closer, dear, let me see those pretty eyes." She ran. But when she looked in the mirror, her reflection didn't move, and its eyes were already gone. The last footage of Coraline, a group of investigators desperate for answers, finally returned to the Pink Palace. The house had been empty for years, but when they stepped inside, they found something waiting for them. A single old camcorder covered in dust resting in the middle of Coraline's abandoned room. It was still recording. Shaking, they picked it up and rewound the tape. The footage flickered to life, and there on the screen was Coraline Jones. She was older now. Too old. Her clothes were faded. Her hair was tangled. She was standing in front of a door, her hands trembling, her breath shallow. Tears ran down her face as she whispered, "If anyone finds this, don't open it. Don't go near it, don't. She suddenly turned, looking at something behind the camera. Her eyes widened, her lips trembled. She started screaming. Then, static, and in the last frame, for just a split second, the camera caught someone else standing behind her. Tall, thin, with needle-like fingers gently resting on Coraline's shoulder. The other mother, smiling, holding a spool of black thread. And right before the tape cut to black, Coraline's mouth began to move. But her words were not her own. Her lips curled into a smile, and in a soft, gentle voice, she whispered, "Your turn."